That's there. Jan's here. Let me shift over a little bit and let her.
Morning, Jan. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
Morning, Jim. You see Jim?
Yeah. See the witness protection right in the middle?
Yeah, witness protection.
Witness protection.
That's our Jane. That's Jane. I told her she looks like she's on 60 Minutes.
All right. So you want to put
The first line?
Yeah.
Okay. Ken is marching us along. Those eggs that you see on the bottom corner are actually from a pyracantha bush in our front yard area, and they're dove eggs.
Beautiful.
I had to stick my phone up in there and try to avoid getting poked by the pyracantha thorns and get that in there. Ken has a much better one with his camera, but we wanted to get this up with a smaller sized footprint.
They look like they're dyed, like they're Easter eggs.
Don't they? Interesting, huh?
Pretty.
And robin eggs. She said dove eggs.
Dove. They're dove eggs.
Hi, Dean.
Hey, Dean.
Hi.
Welcome to the Unity of Las Cruces virtual Sunday service, where God is good all the time and all are welcome, safe, and loved. You can put that up later. And we appreciate you guys coming and joining us today. I want to just thank you for joining us, from your homes and from our homes, joining us and just making the effort to reach out and touch virtually other folks. And some of you may have not seen anyone else for a while in person, so it's nice to have this virtual opportunity to see one another and visit. We'll do some more of that after the service. So again, whether you're a newcomer and you're recording, because we're recording this, none of you who are right with us today are newcomers, but we do have some who watch online sometimes. And whether you're a newcomer or a person who is on today and has been for a while, just let you know, we are also available on unityoflascruces.org, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And our YouTube channel is called Unity Las Cruces. We'd like you to send us your email address so that we can send you weekly information updates. Basically, it's a weekly information that just tells you who the speaker is and any kind of thing that might be going on. And we also sometimes put out a notice if there's something going on special during the week, like you'll hear about. And I wanted to also say that you'll find that we have our contact information at the end of the service on the last slide before our music, our Let There Be Peace on Earth, our peace song. Right before that, there'll be a slide that has our information. Today's message includes two speakers, myself and Helen Wright, our new ministry coordinator, and part of the talk, we're going to be tag teaming, and in part of that talk, we're going to have a tongue-in-cheek two-part reading, and that's all I'll say about it at this time. But now for a few words of gratitude and good news. I want to say thank you. Thank you to the Unity of Las Cruces Board of Trustees, our social media outreach coordinator, Jane Ray. And I'd like to also thank our prayer chaplaincy, headed up by Ms. Kay Brilliant. Our speakers, of course, we have singers and musicians have been doing a wonderful, beautiful work. If you haven't seen the videos of their work, please do check them out on our Unity Las Cruces YouTube channel. All the anonymous prayers and visualizers and affirmation sayers and thinkers, all our helpers, donors, and volunteers. We want to thank all of you. Thank you so very much. I want to thank you for all of us for these prayers, affirmation, and visualizations. You know, they do make a difference to the world as well as the universe and each of us, each one of us. I had a situation in my family, and we had some prayers that went out. We included our family members in some extra group praying that was going on, and it really made a difference. It's wonderful to see how prayer can work in your life, and of course we'd rather not have situations that call for it, but you know what? We do. That's life. We're human. And what do you know? That we also make a difference with our prayers to others all around the globe. It does elevate the vibration. We have a beautiful, beautiful world, and to the universe, as Jennifer Kleitz always asked me to say. So thank you for answering the call this morning and being on this call with us. We will be back in the CSL Sanctuary for in-person services very soon. We just don't know when. And now I'd like to bring us into the good news section of our welcome notes and introduce Ken Warner. He's bringing us a funny this week. It's a funny from a home isolated British sportscaster. Thank you, Ken.
Well, how fitting that it should come down to these two. Olive in her familiar black, 5 times the champion. Mabel, the rising star, winner last year. You can see how excited they are, but also feel the tension.
Get on with it.
And here it's in the crowd as we near the start of this final. And now they go, Olive away first, but a problem with Mabel's ball. That might cost her now, having to play catch-up. Both settling quickly into rhythm. You can see the contrast in styles. Mabel, heavy tail use, happy to be alive. Everything's amazing. Olive, more steady, wasting little energy. Very much of the old Labrador school. Eating's a serious business. Don't bollocks around wagging your tail. And Mabel seems just a little sluggish here. Perhaps more was taken out of her by the worm medicine she was given last night than we thought. But Olive, focused, relentless, tasting absolutely nothing. Mabel trying, but surely a lost cause. Her title defence coming to an end. Olive taking everything, nothing left but the bowl to lick now. And Mabel, well, doesn't seem too upset. A bit of class there from the youngster, generous in what will surely be defeat, because Olive has won now. She's taken the title back at 7.5. Mabel looking to offer congratulations again to the dog who was her inspiration growing up. Once more, wonderful to see that spirit in the game. What a final we've had here. Great rivals, but great friends. Oh, and you see the swapping of bowls at the end. Join us again tomorrow. Live coverage of a snooze on the sofa, possibly. Bye for now.
Thank you, Ken, for that great little humor. We all need humor in our lives, especially now. And a different perspective into the animal world. Am I right? Thank you so much. Now, we'd like to hear what you found during the week, your favorite good news stories. And if you'd like to have me bring them up or share them during our service, send them to me at unityluscruces@gmail.com. Thank you. And now, please join us for the opening prayer.
So I'd like us to just take a moment and breathe into this moment. Breathing into our physical bodies, becoming truly present in the moment. And Father, Mother God, Creator, Great Spirit, Spirit of life, we are so grateful to be here and be able to meet and greet each other. We can meet and greet with our hearts, our minds, our smiles, our eyes, even though we're not in physical presence of each other. We are so grateful for the creation of health with the powers of love and light and life, creating vibrant health on all levels of our being, expressing and manifesting through the physical as perfect divine health. We are grateful for the healing energy that's in us and through us and around us, and radiating out across the whole world, bringing health, bringing healing in all situations. We're grateful for the blissful alignment that we have with divine order and source and God, and joyful expressions of divinity. We are grateful that we are called and can hold the high ground, the high vibration, and be the lighthouse to others that may need our message and our prayers. And we're grateful for the spirit of the living, loving God in us and through us and as us, in all our thoughts and words and actions, prayers and expressions this day. And so it is. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And so it is. Thank you, Helen. So now we have our daily word read by our very own doer of good, Steve Gaskell.
Happy Sunday. We have a happy Sunday, April the 19th, 2020. Our topic today is understanding. A biblical reading comes from Psalm 119, verse 144. Your decrees are righteous forever. Give me understanding that I may live. And our affirmation is, I open myself to spiritual understanding. When I feel frustrated by a personal or professional challenge, or feel unsafe or concerned about a situation or event, I seek greater understanding. When I try to understand, I open my heart. Maybe I just need to gather some information or request the advice of someone I trust. If I'm in conflict with someone, I practice understanding by listening with a curious mind and loving heart. I grow in spiritual understanding when I discern and heed my inner guidance. Beyond conscious thought, spiritual truth begins to illuminate my consciousness. As I release all that stands in the way of understanding and stand firm in the love that calls it forth, I am guided by my growing spiritual understanding. In our affirmation together, I open myself to spiritual understanding. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Steve. Wish you were here in person. And now we'd like to introduce again Helen Wright, our ministry coordinator, to share with us the intention affirmation.
Our intention is to create a sacred space where all who enter feel the presence of God, the joy of God, and where all feel welcome, safe, and loved.
Thank you, Helen. And now we have our Sunday talk. And like I said before, we're tag teaming, and Helen's going to start us off, and then we'll do our two-part story we talked about, that tongue-in-cheek thing, and then I'll talk, and then Helen will take it from there. So shall we begin, Helen?
We shall.
Okay.
So the title is Every Day is Earth Day. And I'm going to start off with, it came from an article from El Ojo del Lago News in Guadalajara, Mexico. It's called God on Lawns. Imagine the conversation the Creator might have with St. Francis on the subject of lawns. And so God starts.
Hey, St. Francis, you know all about gardens and nature. What in the world is going on down there in the Midwest? What happened to the dandelions, the violets, thistle, and stuff I started eons ago? I had a perfect no-maintenance garden plan. Those plants grow in all types of soil, withstand drought, and multiply with abandon. The nectar from long-lasting blossoms attracts butterflies, honeybees, and flocks of songbirds. I expected to see a vast garden of colors by now, but all I see are these green rectangles.
Well, it's the tribes that settled there, Lord, the suburbanites. They started calling your flowers weeds, and went to great lengths to kill them and replace them with grass.
Grass? But it's so boring. It's not colorful. It doesn't attract butterflies, birds, and bees, only grubs and sodworms. It's temperamental with temperatures. Do these suburbanites really want all that grass growing here?
Apparently so, Lord. They go to great pains to grow it and to keep it green. They begin each spring by fertilizing grass and poisoning any other plant that crops up in the lawn.
The spring rains and warm weather probably make grass grow really fast. That must make the suburbanites happy.
Apparently not, Lord. As soon as it grows a little, they cut it, sometimes twice a week.
They cut it. Do they then bale it like hay?
Not exactly, Lord. Most of them rake it up and put it into bags.
They bag it? Why? Is it a cash crop? Do they sell it?
No, sir, just the opposite. They pay to throw it away.
Now, let me get this straight. They fertilize grass, so when it does grow, they cut it off and pay to throw it away.
Yes, sir.
These suburbanites must be relieved in the summer when we cut back on the rain and turn up the heat. That surely slows the growth and saves them a lot of work.
You're not going to believe this, Lord. When the grass stops growing so fast, they drag out hoses and pay more money to water it so that they can continue to mow it and to pay to get rid of it.
Oh, what nonsense. At least they kept some of the trees. That was a sheer stroke of genius, if I do say so myself. The trees grow leaves in the spring to provide beauty and shade in the summer. In the autumn, they fall to the ground and form a natural blanket to keep moisture in the soil and protect the trees and bushes. Plus, as they rot, the leaves form compost to enhance the soil. It's a natural circle of life.
You better sit down, Lord. The suburbanites have drawn a new circle. As soon as the leaves fall, they rake them into great piles and pay to have them hauled away.
No. What do they do to protect the shrub and tree roots in the winter and keep the soil moist and loose?
After throwing away the leaves, they go out and buy something which they call mulch. They haul it home and spread it around in place of the leaves.
And where do they get this mulch?
They cut down trees and grind them up to make the mulch.
Oh, thank you, St. Francis. I've heard enough. Let us visualize for increased intelligence in all creation, shall we?
That sounds good to me. So I share this story for the humor, but also ask the question, how do we live in harmony with the earth? And what do we want in our earth, our parks, our yards, our gardens? What do we want to create? Do we want to create harmony and beauty and celebrate life, nourish life, maybe grow vegetables, fruits, herbs for healing? Or do we want to be in this control mode over nature? I think Myrtle Fillmore, Mother of Unity, really expressed this beautifully in that she says, I was almost accused of being a nature worshipper when I was a little girl. Nature is surely the glorified face of God. See the beauty about you, and you do see the manifestation of the infinite mind. And I could really say that that could have been said of me as a child. I loved being in nature, and I still do. I loved playing in the dirt and rescuing earthworms after a heavy rain and climbing trees, looking and playing with the nature spirits and fairies and learning which were their special flowers. I loved to play in the rock pools at the seaside, and I was so gentle with the sea anemones. So most of all, I loved life expressed through nature. And I'd take photos because I wanted to remember it. Then when we looked at Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, he says, intelligence is inherent in every form, animate or inanimate. Even rocks and all the minerals have life. We should be speaking words of truth to everything, not only humankind, but to the mineral, vegetable, animal kingdoms. In his book, Jesus Christ Heals, he also went on to say, we all intuitively know there is something wrong in a world where poverty, suffering, and sorrow prevail. We would not, any of us, create such a world. We all want to see these things blotted out of this world. So these words, we would not, any of us, create such a world. And yet sometimes when I look around, I think that we have created a world where there is poverty and suffering and sorrow. I read somewhere that our role here on earth was to continue to create beauty and co-create with God. Co-creating beauty, co-creating this world that works for all. And when we truly appreciate the awe and wonder of nature, we see the face of God, the divine creation all around. When we stop in the moment to behold the beauty of nature, we experience the divine. And for me, this is a direct experience of the divine, and that's why I seek it out. These days, I use my phone to take photos as a practice of being in the moment and taking time to appreciate beauty, to stop and to pause, to appreciate the beauty and life here on earth. In the initial story that we shared about the lawns, I've actually helped I've helped people create butterfly pollinator gardens and they can have monarch waste stations and become certified as a monarch waste station with this so-called weed called milkweed. And when I have friends who are in suburbia with the neighbors who might be concerned about the weeds in the garden, this pollinator status seems to help. And I do have a friend back in Wisconsin, in a small city where even the city has ordinances regarding the lawns and the length of the lawn. It can be no longer than 4 inches. And people sort of compete, peer pressure, to get the greenest lawn and get rid of the dandelions and keep mowing the lawn to keep it at that 4 inches or less. But really, I can contemplate and think we do have free will. As humans, we have free will. And in every day, we can either contribute to the world of love and beauty and awe and wonder, or not. And small actions are cumulative. We may tend to be overwhelmed at times, but very small actions are cumulative and create to the good, create the better good, and to the beauty. And share a small story about when I was in Jacomo Lake Campground in Lee's Summit last year in July, for the Unity National Annual Convention. And when I wasn't in workshops, I was at the campground in my RV. And so I would walk down to the lake. And down at the lake, I noticed that the piers where everyone was fishing off, there was tons and tons of plastic and garbage and everything. And I just kind of said to the universe, hey, if I had a couple of plastic bags, I'd start to collect the garbage to help make more beautiful this place. And lo and behold, there was a plastic bag in the water and a plastic bag on the path. So I got myself plastic bags, and may have looked like a little eccentric. I think at times I was using my cane. I had my sun hat on, and I'm walking around and I'm picking up all the plastic and all the garbage and everything. And I'd be saying good morning and talking to the people fishing on the pier. And some would kind of look and ask what I was doing, and I'd explain that I was picking up the garbage and especially the plastic, because finding common ground, even for people fishing, I was saying that, the plastic is so bad for the lake. It's really bad for the fish who ingest it and then die. And then, the whole lake begins to die. And just really doing a little education while doing my funny British walking around thing, this eccentric British lady going around and picking up all the garbage. And I really was enjoying myself because I got to do what I did as a child. I was playing around in the water, and not quite rock pools, but playing around and getting the cans out and garbage out. And I also realized it became a meditation. And it was connecting with humans, but it was the meditation of like chop wood, carry water. It was in the moment. And even the concept of adding to the beauty, I was actually removing the garbage layer to reveal more beauty that was already there. And I enjoyed it so much that when I ended up in Truth or Consequences in my RV and would walk to the senior center, that became, again, my daily meditation of having the garbage bags and collecting the garbage. So a small action that actually uplifted me may have caused others to laugh, smile, pause, but at least take notice. And it was just a gentle message of we can all do a little bit to help make the world more beautiful again. And that was both a spiritual and a physical activity for me. And when we look at the spiritual aspect of Earth Day every day, many of the American people say, Earth is our mother and the sky is our father. The air I breathe in comes from the trees, and I breathe out the carbon dioxide, which the plants take up. My bones are made from the minerals of the earth. My whole body is made from the earth. I'm a high percentage of water. Every organ in the body, every tissue in the body is a very high percentage of water that's slightly saline. And so I've heard it described that we humans are a walking bag of ocean contained by our skin. And then again, when I look at the consciousness of Earth Day every day, I love the fact that plants, potted plants outside respond to music. And I've seen research talking about the plants responding best to classical music or uplifting music. Apparently they quite like country music because it's still emotion of the heart in the country music. And I'm told that in these research projects, that plants that did the least well were the plants that were subjected to hard rock, heavy metal music. And I can kind of understand that. We can talk to the trees, and trees have consciousness. And in my experience, that even when the trees all have an essence, or a soul essence, an energy, and even when a tree may have to be cut down, if you can explain to the tree ahead of time, its consciousness is able to hop over into another living tree. I love the intelligence of the natural world. I love the ability to be able to send prayers and love to weather systems, to tornadoes, to storms. And Unity has a saying, there is no spot where God is not. So the consciousness of God is everywhere throughout the whole of our earth, and into the earth consciousness itself. God is everywhere. I like to see the earth as one conscious organism, containing all of the peoples and all of the animals and all of the elements and all of the oceans, the mountains. And I compare this to my own body. I am one physical body, and yet there's so many different organs and systems in the body, all playing their part, interconnected for the highest life and vitality of the whole. And the whole is greater than the sum of any of the parts. The physical body does not work optimally if any part is either removed or damaged or diseased. And even though energetically that template of the body remains the same, it can't work optimally when systems are out of balance. And I see the same in the earth, that the earth, when the earth is disrupted, some people believe that all the uranium deposits are actually the nerve pathways of the earth. There are any other energy pathways on the earth, like our acupuncture, acupressure, meridian lines. There are meridians on the earth that create energy channels around the earth. So again, the human body to the earth body, there's so many areas where we compare and have the similar systems. And then I get all excited about interconnectedness. I appreciate the author Thomas Berry, and he says the earth-based spirituality sees the earth as the primal source of our spirituality. He writes, if there is no spirituality in the earth, then there is no spirituality in ourselves. He goes on to say that we have forgotten that the revelation found in the natural world and in the wider universe around us is the primary divine revelation. We need to regain a sense of wonder that comes from being deeply interconnected in sacred ways. I love looking at the global coherence research and the science of interconnectivity. And this really goes on to say that we're looking at the global research which encompasses a whole variety of scientific data and gains insights into the interconnectedness of human and animal health and behavior, and the sun and the earth's magnetic activity. The scientific community is just beginning to appreciate and understand the deeper level of how we're all interconnected. We're getting closer to understanding why and how magnetic fields generated by the sun and the earth affect human health and behavior, and why it's important to know this. And HeartMath, that I love, has a global coherence monitoring system. They're actually sensors continually monitoring the resonant frequencies of the Earth's magnetic field. And they track changes in geomagnetic activity caused by solar storms, solar winds, disruption of the Schumann resonances. And they're also looking at the signatures of major global events that have a strong emotional component and seeing how that affects the Earth's magnetic field. And I've seen the research and the graphs from the 9/11, when there was a huge spike in the graph for around the 9/11 event, showing clearly that our emotions and our energy here on Earth is connected with the Earth's magnetic field. These resonant frequencies in the Earth's magnetic fields directly overlap with those of the human brain, the cardiovascular, the heart, and the autonomic nervous systems. How amazing is that? Therefore, it should not be surprising that the numerous physiological rhythms in humans and global collective behaviors are not only synchronized with solar and geomagnetic activity, but any of the disruptions in these fields create adverse effects on human health and behavior. When the Earth's magnetic field is disturbed, it can cause sleep disturbances, mental confusion, unusual lack of energy, or a feeling of being on edge or overwhelmed for no apparent reason. And they're continuing to do research at HeartMath on the global coherence. And they're looking further into the human and animal health, cognitive functions, emotions, behaviors, all affected by the solar and geomagnetic, Earth-related magnetic fields. They're looking how every person affects the global information field. They're looking at the fact that the Earth's magnetic field is a carrier of biologically relevant information that connects all living systems. And they're looking at the hypothesis that the collective human consciousness affects the global information field. Therefore, large numbers of people creating heart-centered states of care, love, compassion will generate a more coherent field. A more coherent field in the environment that can benefit others and help offset current planetary discord and incoherence. And I find this so affirming and exciting. It's what Reverend Tanya was saying about everything we think, we pray, we feel, we send into our own field, but also into the energetic field of the Earth. And yesterday I saw on Facebook Dr. Bruce Lipton and Dr. Rashid Buttar and Nia Peoples. They have a global initiative at the moment. I live a result, I give a result. And they're talking about every time we meet 11 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock in the morning for the next 24, 48 hours, or as long as we'd like to do this. Set our intention, create an emotional field of love within, of love, of caring, compassion, and with the intention and visualizing the world we'd like to be living in on all levels. Love and health and harmony and compassion for all humanity. And then the image of a garden, our beautiful Earth, how it can best become a garden that nourishes all and we nourish the garden. So they're inviting us to again share on a synchronized time frame the best possible vision, enlivened with love and a feeling sense. I intend to do this, but I'm also aware that we do this many times. There's many world meditations. Unity has the World Day of Prayer where we do this. There's the International Hour of Peace at the end of December. So whenever we synchronize our thoughts and prayers and image and visualize, we're contributing to the global energy field of the Earth. And I like also to explore the spirituality of Earth and all of our humanity. And for me, often the words of poetry or art can bring this into greater clarity than just talking about it. But I did want to share a poem by James Dillard Freeman. And he says, to thine own sense, to thine own self. The lake looked at the mountain and thought, oh, fortunate mountain, rising so high, while I must lie so low. You look far across at the world and take part in many interesting happenings. Well, I can only lie still. How I wish I was a mountain. The mountain looked at the lake and thought, oh, fortunate lake, lying so close to the warm-breasted earth, while I loom here, craggy, cold, and uncomfortable. You are always so peaceful, while I am constantly having to battle howling storms and blazing sun. How I wish I was a lake. All the time, quietly, the mountain was coming down in silver streams to run into the lake, and the lake was rising as silver mists to fall as snow upon the mountain. To thine own self be true. We each are exquisite new creations, and we're all part of the interconnected web of life on earth. I am the mountain running down into the lake, and the lake rising into the mountain. Here in Las Cruces, as I first came here and continue, I love the Organ Mountains, the energy. I love the blue skies, the sun, the warmth, the flowers. And the spirituality of each Earth Day means appreciating and experiencing spiritual qualities of beauty. When I walk in beauty, I'm aware of the divine. When I dance in joy, I am aware of the divine. When I perceive wonder and awe and the curiosity and childlike qualities of wonder and amazement, I'm in contact with the divine. In loving life in all its expressions, I don't always succeed. I haven't quite mastered loving in all expressions, ticks and mosquitoes, but I'm working on it. But when I walk in reverence, I'm in the presence of the divine. So my direct experience of the divine, it sometimes feels beyond word, but when I walk in beauty and joy and wonder and awe and love life and reverence, I'm in the presence of the divine on this beautiful experience of earth. The Hasid master says, when you walk across the fields with your mind pure and holy, then from all the stories of all growing things and all animals, the sparks of their soul come out. They cling to you, then they are purified, become a holy fire in you. So this is beautiful because it reminds us we're not walking on the earth. We are all in the earth, and the earth is in us. We are in this relationship with the earth. The earth is in me, and I am in the earth. And with this, I pass this in love and light to Tanya to continue with this talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. And thank you. I think it's Puma who's joined you in song. Thank you. Thank you very much. Some of you may remember when I spoke on the 3rd of February in 2019 that I talked about a fellow called Hermes Trismegistus. And I actually was the first time I tried to, there we go. I first came across Thoth Hermes Trismegistus in a book called The Three Initiates, by the Three Initiates. And it all my life I had read his name as Trismegistus. And so now I know it's Trismegistus, and he is the one who is famous for the quote about as above, so below, which is exactly what Helen was talking about. As I was listening to what she was saying, I was listening. We did not coordinate the exact topics of our our talk, we knew that they would blend in because of the topic, overall topic. But you'll see as I'm reading here about above, so as above, so below, exactly what she was talking about. So from the book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall, he writes about Trismegistus, master of all arts and sciences, perfect in all crafts, ruler of the three worlds, scribe of the gods, and keeper of the books of life. Thoth Hermes Trismegistus, the 3 times greatest, the first intelligencer, was regarded by ancient Egyptians as the embodiment of the universal mind. While in all probability there actually existed a great sage and educator by the name of Hermes, it is impossible to extricate the historical man from the mass of legendary accounts which attempt to identify him with the cosmic principle of thought. So the best translation of what he said is this: that which is below corresponds to that which is above, and that which is above corresponds to that which is below, to accomplish the miracle of the one thing. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. We could say, as the universe, so the earth. As the earth, so each of us and our souls, and as Helen illustrated, and our bodies and our lives. And so whatever happens on the level of reality, any level of reality, physical, emotional, mental, also happens on all other levels. Several years back, I heard Deepak Chopra talk in one of his classes that he was giving, and you could buy the cassettes and the CDs and so on like that. He says, go out into the sunshine and stick out your tongue. And of course, he was talking about if you might have a sore throat, you go out and you open your mouth wide to the sun and you stick your tongue out. No, I'm not going to do it for you. And but you stick your tongue out and to heal inside, and let the sun get down your throat and heal that throat, and let that sunlight penetrate. And so some of you may have sore throat now due to our allergy season, as we have right now. But it's one of the many ways to bring about the as above, so below of God's great universe through our atmosphere and on down in, right? Who's driving this bus? As above, so below. All things are connected and affect everything else. What we think, feel, and do affects everything. Everything to do with us, the people around us, our extended environment, and the environment. Knowing that, let's talk about the spirituality of our coherence, something else that Helen brought up in her talk, or being coherent, okay? As above, so below. So think, feel, speak, and act in harmony. Align your energies. Align your heart, head, and gut. Align your 12 powers. Adjust for any changes needed for alignment and coherence. Know what I'm doing and to do what I know I need to do. So let's just say this: you are the front line. You are the vehicle for your life. And we are all driving the bus for this earth. We're all the front lines and vehicles for our own lives, and we're driving the bus for this earth. Our soul, our body temples, entire beings reflect into our lives and reflect into the world, this earth. So this is our spiritual coherence happening. Allow and actively engage your life with spiritual coherence. Speak, think, feel, and act your truth. Be coherent. As children of God, spiritual beings, and students of metaphysics, we stretch and grow within and without. We stretch like a sunflower to the sun, and we give a rat's, meaning we care. So how do we amalgamate our above, as above, so below? our spirituality in this beautiful world? Well, we start from right where we are. For whatever we have done or not done, we start now with an open heart. We start now. We don't worry about feeling guilty about what we did or didn't do. We just start now with an open heart and we move forward. We pray, including the earth herself in our prayers. We meditate, we affirm, and we visualize. We throw open our doors and windows and let the fresh air in. Now here locally, that means doing it in the morning because we want to make sure that the pollen hasn't warmed up and start floating through the air and become airborne. And we also want to get it done before the dusty winds start to howl. Am I right? I have a little silver lining about dust this morning. It was a story, what happened to me in my bathroom. So I was getting out of the shower and I was, as I often do, when Ken leaves the window open and the wind comes in, I imagine it's bringing the dust and making muddy my towel. And so it's just a joke we say between each other. And I was getting out and I said, well, let me reach for my muddy towel here. And he says, well, he's shaving and he says, well, you know, it's good for exfoliation. And I said, okay, all right, thank you. And he says, yeah, there's a silver lining everywhere. So there we go. There's a silver lining everywhere. So throw open our doors, go out, cover our eyes, stick out our tongues at the sun, open that throat up and let it in. We put trash in the trash bins. We put recyclables in the recycle bin. And we go clean and green and just say no way to toxic food additives, makeup, cleaners, and more. And I do have some props today. Look at this. I'm sharing. Look at that there. Now over here is these are cleaners and different things that I use for cleaning. And you can make your own recipes, and you can find these online anywhere. If you guys have any questions about this, I'm sure that you can get a hold of me, and I'll share some various sources that I use for recipes. But I do make my own multi-purpose cleaner. I make my own toilet bowl cleaner, and so on. Here, baking soda is a basic in almost every recipe, as well as white vinegar, which you can see here. And of course, dish soap, which I have here, some good dish soap that's not full of chemicals you want. You can try Castile soap in most recipes, works really well. Hydrogen peroxide, and I have some examples here of tea tree oil here that I use for cleaning and also for things, you know, for your own skin and different things, essential oils. And there's a lot of different ways to manifest your clean green life in your own home, and just not keeping the windows closed and the doors closed to keep that dust out. You know, we approach life with sustained living in mind. This is another aspect of our spiritual coherence with how we believe and how we think and how we feel and how we approach life. So we approach it with sustained living in mind, and how we choose and how we clean our homes. We talked about that. How we spray for ants, repair our stuff, shop and buy things. We might ask ourselves, is it poisonous to the water table? Is it recycled? Is it recyclable? Is it sustainable? We do this in how we eat, what our choices are in our food and where and so on. How we landscape. Here locally, we use native plants and low water usage plants. We turn on our lights. How do we turn on our lights and turn them off? We're kind of doing this with a consciousness of, oh, let's try to keep the electric down. How we use our water. How we give gifts. We approach our life with all these choices, and we use our intuition. And as we approach our life to make choices, we use our intuition. As above, so below. We are spiritually integrated. We are inseparable from God. What did she say, Helen? She said, there's no spot where God is not. We are inseparable from God and our lives here on this earth plane and on the earth, this earth. So we will again embrace each other one time. It'll come. We'll be giving each other big hugs in real life. And we embraced Mother Earth, and we always embrace as I pointed out, the vinegar, baking soda, lemon juice, dish soap, tea tree oils, and our intuition. And here's to our unity, our collective, vibrational, as above and so below. Thank you. Helen?
So now I'd like to lead us into meditation. So taking a few deep breaths and becoming aware of our breathing. Begin to become aware of whether the breathing in, whether it's a cool sensation or whether your breath feels warm. Feeling your breath into your lungs. And feeling your breath as we exhale back into the environment. Just breathing in and breathing out in your own gentle and natural flow and cycle. And I invite you to bring to mind, imagine one of your favorite places in nature, a place where you feel safe, a place where you feel connected, a place where you are truly you, the essence of you, the authentic you, in your special place in nature. It might be up a mountain, it might be in the forest, it might be by the ocean on the beach, it might be beside a lake. And especially at the moment, it may be just that one special place where you have a sanctuary in your own home. Maybe by that open window or that open door in the early morning. But connecting to that beautiful place, that safe place in nature. Just sensing in, what's the temperature? Is it warm? Is it cool? Is there breeze? Is there stillness? Are there any special aromas? Are there any sounds that you're hearing? How does it feel? Is there sand between your toes? Is there a cool pine branch close by with its beautiful aroma? Just fully sensing in and relaxing more and more into this beautiful place. And in this beautiful place, I invite you to reflect on what you most love about being here on earth at this time. Reflect upon what you most love about being a spiritual being, having a physical experience here on earth. I invite you to take that into the silence. This reflection on what I most love about being here in this physical plane. And taking this into the silence for a moment in the stillness of the silence. And gently become more aware of your physical body again, the place and space that you are sitting sitting in right now. Gently releasing this beautiful place that you had in nature, knowing that you can return there anytime you wish. Gently returning with the sounds around you. The sounds of my kitty cat welcoming you back from the silence. And as we gently return to this moment, this place, this time, this space, we are grateful. Grateful, grateful, grateful for the opportunity to be here on earth, in the physical realm, in our spiritual being, with all of the experiences. The revelations, the gifts that are here for us right now. And so it is. Namaste.
And so it is. Thank you, Helen. Thank you very much. We have some special music today, and it's by our Barry Shaw, music director Barry Shaw, and our soloist Max Contreras, and it's What a Wonderful World.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people walking by. I see friends video chatting, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I'll watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful
I don't know how they do it, but they seem to outdo themselves every week. Thank you, Barry, and thank you, Max. So beautiful. And now we have prayer for faith and announcements from Kay Brilliant.
Welcome to Unity of Las Cruces, where we know that God is good all the time. Please join me in prayer as we affirm our prayer of faith. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God dwells within me, guides my way through every moment, night and day. I now am wise, I now am true, patient, kind, and loving too. All things I am, can do, and be through Christ, the truth that is in me. God is my health, I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all, I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. Amen. We have a couple of announcements. I want to remind you that while we are not physically with one another, we are always together under the light of God, that you can send your support, your checks, your gifts, your tithe to Unity of Las Cruces, P.O. Box 1143, that's Las Cruces, New Mexico, 88004. And tithing is a part of our spiritual discipline and our spiritual growth. So let's keep the abundance flowing. That's how it works. We give, that money goes to others with love. We give with love. We send it out in love. And of course, then love comes right back to us. And also, in addition, I want to remind you that you can offer a prayer request in any number of ways. Through Unity, Silent Unity, you can call with a prayer request, you can send mail, as we do when we're together and we do the little sheets of paper, we mail that directly to Silent Unity. Or you can submit an online prayer request form, and all of that information is on your email, or you might remember, this is where all of that information is, and you can do that. What I found really exciting is I have an Alexa, and now I can ask her to pray. Alexa, open positive prayer, and then you can ask for a specific prayer topic. If you don't have an Alexa, you can always find relief and solace in your own prayer, and you all know how to do that.
Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful.
Thank you, Jan. So this week's tithe goes to Unity of New Braunfels, Texas, where Helen's is her regional, or her mentor that she's working with, assigned by Unity Worldwide Ministries, a nice reverend. His name is Gary, and it's Kinnear. Am I right? I got that right? Gary Kinnear. Very nice. Unity of New Braunfels. Thank you, everyone. And just so you know that we can also donate via website, our website, unityoflascruces.org, or you can go directly to PayPal, and it's the same thing, unityoflascruces.org. And so now we have the affirmation for unity. Thank you, Jane Ray.
Good morning. This is Jane Ray with the affirmation for unity. Guided by infinite love and wisdom, and with God as our source, we now behold unlimited possibilities as Unity of Las Cruces grows and prospers.
Please join us as we affirm the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Amen.
And thank you, Kay and Virginia. What a joy it is to see Virginia and Kay. And we haven't seen Virginia in a little while, and it's always a joy, isn't it? So our next week's speaker is Randy Granger, and then we also have Wednesdays at 9:30, the Daily Word. It's the point of that is to read and discuss and just kind of touch base with each other and see how we're all doing. And that's Helen is doing, and it's at 9:30 on Wednesdays. So if you check your email, you'll see the meeting code and password for that. You know, I'd ask you to please reach out to one another this week, as always. If you need someone's phone number, let me know. Send me an email at unitylascruces@gmail.com, and let me know. We'll find out if that person doesn't mind giving their phone number out, and we'll give that to you if you're missing someone's number. Just, you know, you may have to stay home, but you don't have to be alone, if you get me. So let's reach out and touch each other virtually or by phone this week. You are loved, and we'll be together soon. Thank you for attending this week's virtual Sunday service celebration, and we look forward to seeing you next week with Randy Granger. He'll be speaking, and well, you're also welcome to stay after this service to say hi to one another. But first, let's hear from the Harlem Boys Choir, the Peace Song. Along if you want.